I'd like to talk to you today about catalytic carbon and some of the contaminants that it removes. The catalytic carbon that we use is made out of coconut shells, which in a lot of water treatment opinion is kind of makes the best tasting water. It also is a specialized carbon that is enhanced with an iron particle coated on the inside and outside of the carbon substrate. This is important in a couple of areas. One, it helps increase the surface area. Two, what it does is it gives it a positive backbone for it to remove negative contaminants. It filters down to about 1 micron. It can remove tannins and lignite. It can use phenols and color, but it also will remove inorganic metals, mercury, lead, copper, arsenic, fluoride, a number of different contaminants. The list is fairly long, so I won't bore you with that. But this carbon also is 2,500 meters squared per gram, approximately. And that gives it a huge surface area. And surface area means contact time, and contact time and surface area is what water treatment's all about. Another great feature about this carbon is that it can be regenerated on site, which means you put in a cleaning packet every 6 months to a year, and it brings the carbon back to 99% of its original capacity. And that is a really nice feature when you consider that, the other options are to replace the bed by, taking it and dumping it out, which can be a pretty tedious task, or the expense of switching the carbon tank out. We really haven't seen the end of this carbon because we haven't found a point where it's exhausted itself. So a nice feature of this is that you put in a cleaning packet, hit the one button, and you're back to 99% of your original capacity. The fact that this carbon is so reactive means that it can really remove a substance that I'm quite passionate about, and that's chloramines. Chloramines has been around for about 100 years. I think the first use of it was in Denver in 1917. But municipalities have really started to go to it because triethylomethanes are the one thing that the EPA and most water systems are most concerned about. And those are disinfection byproducts, which is basically made when chlorine mixes with organic matter. So what they've done is, in order to get around pretty much the triethylamethane rule, is they've added ammonia to the chlorine to create chloramines. And I use the word chloramines because there's trichloramine, which is fairly nasty stuff, which reduces down to dichloramine, pretty nasty stuff, and eventually you end up with monochloramine. Now, there's a lot of studies that say that this switches back and forth, but we won't get into that today. But generally, what the EPA and your water system will tell you is you end up with monochloramine. So we can agree on, let's talk about monochloramine. There aren't a lot of health studies to tell us what it will and will not do in terms of disinfection byproducts. To my knowledge, there's not been a study done with any type of human surveys or any type of blind studies done with humans. So I know there's been some rat and mice studies that have been done, but nothing definitive on, well, what is the overall effect or the effects of this going to be over the long term. And when we talk about maximum contaminant levels, this isn't something set by the American Medical Association. These are politically negotiated numbers about what's feasible and possible and cost effective. So the fact that chloramines are on the rise in more and more municipalities, and the numbers say that it's coming to nearly everyone in a large city eventually, the carbon that we have is the absolute most effective carbon, in my opinion, to remove chloramines over the long term, because it really, really exhausts your carbon very quickly. And the fact that this can be regenerated on site, it's got the largest surface area. Chloramines is something that this is very, very able to handle. The home water plant utilizes this special catalytic carbon. The home water plant also utilizes a very special delivery system. Vortex tank technology is really a second generation delivery process. The older process uses a distributor tube with a cone, and You turn the water on and it would kind of bubble up from the middle through the carbon and settle back down, and you turn it on again, it bubbles up. Well, it uses the middle of the carbon, but it never utilizes the outside of the carbon. With Vortex, you're using the entire surface of the carbon evenly through the entire treatment process. And that's really important for longevity and performance. It also utilizes 30% less water during a backwash cycle if that's applicable. So the home water plant really is a second generation, not only media, but delivery technology, and really proud to be associated with such a fine product.